and let's talk about the year of 2022. Any questions so far? Okay, let's get started about 2022. We talked about that before the last week a little bit. I'll just explain a little bit about the number here. Those numbers are the order of each pillar. What do you think about wood and metal chart? I don't know, the question is not clear, I think. Yeah, but I will just keep going. So there are 60 kinds of pillar. You don't need to really think about calculate or anything about this, but there are 60 kinds of pillars. So that's the number of the order. This year is rainwater tiger. That is 39th pillar from the beginning. So that number is like that, the order of the pillar. And then this is the corresponding ears. And this is for sure the animal. Okay. Our young metal, day in wood, monkey young wood, year in wood. That's your chart? I'm not sure, but if day and month and years are all wood, and hourly pillar is young metal, that's really strong wood chart. As we learned last week, we just divide the heavenly stem area and then earthly branches area, and then start from earthly branch first. And we can see last 3 years are all water time, 海之抽, that is like water. And then from this year, 2022, the wood begins. Now wood is governing the earthly branches. So that's kind of the big picture that we can see. Okay, so in this year, we have gone through the water time, and then now we start the wood time. So that's why I said the earthly branches are really important, because if the earthly branch is water, I consider that year is water. And if the earthly branch is wood, like this year, tiger, I consider this year is totally wood year. And then next we can see the heavenly stem's energy is supporting earthly branch or get supported or controlled, like the year of 2019. And that's the next step. But the first, we have to recognize this year and next year, and then 2024 as well. Those 3 years are wood element. That's the first one. And let me look at the chat real quick. Does it always go in the same order for every cycle? Hour, day. Alice, do you mean this pillar's order? Like the yearly pillar follows this order and the monthly pillar follows, yeah, this pillar. Yeah, so all the year and month and day and hour, those 4 pillars follow this order, but separately. There we can find the correlation between year and month and day and hour, but they kind of move separately. So there are 60 kinds of pillar. There are 6 kinds of yearly pillar, 60 monthly pillar, 60 daily pillar, 60 hourly pillar, in the same order of that. So theoretically, there is 60 multiply 60 multiply 60 multiply 60 kinds of charts in the world. Maybe plus 2. No, multiply 2 because yin or yang. No, male or female. Or yin or yang. I'll say yin or yang. So a lot of kinds of chart. But that's theoretical. The real chart is like one pillar can only have 12 pillar. Like 1 year, like this year, there are only 12 months. So only 12 months can come with this year. This is more accurate. And time as well. There are 12 kinds of time in the day. Yeah, that would be more accurate. So let's come back to this. That's the first thing we want to think about. Water has governed last 3 years, and then now the wood begins. And then we think about heavenly stem. The year of 2020 and 2021 is all metal, so I will just put big metal here. I'll put big water here. And then now big wood cycle is starting. So if you see the last 3 years, it's really strong in years. They were really strong in years because it was water. It was water, but metal comes on the heavenly stem, so what metal generates the water. And I said metal and water are both yin element, so those were really strong in period of time. And then yin is kind of contracting. Yin is doing contracting action, and it stores the yang qi. And then it is kind of opposite from expanding. It is the energy from the fall. It's like harvesting, separating, and then choose what is really genuine or not, what is really useful or not, and then store that for the next spring. And next spring means the wood energy, and that is starting from this year. The expanding time is starting from right now. It was really contracted by this metal and water for a couple years. Maybe you guys saw the last year's video about the big picture of 2021. A lot of contracting energy is building up powerful repulsive energy. Let me show you one video. So it's like that. From the Cho Earth is last year's energy, and Inwood Tiger is this year. And from Cho Earth, the red in the circle is the amount of yang energy. Black is the amount of yin energy. So yang is expanding and yin is kind of decreasing right now. From the Inwood to the goat. It's kind of the beginning of initiating the new force, initiating the new springtime. Maybe here is the tiger's energy. Right now, the yang is not really expanded yet, but it was grown. It has been grown from here to here. This is Cho Earth energy. Yang is really small, and then now it is kind of in the middle. That's right now. I will come back to this. I want to find one hexagram. In the Cho Earth, the yang qi is really small. This one represents this image. There are 4 yangs with 4 yin energy with 2 yang energy. The yin energy is kind of suppressing the yang, and then the yang energy is kind of smaller than the yin, and then that is this one. Yang is smaller than yin. And then when it comes to the tiger, there will be one more yang, like that. So now yang energy is similar to the amount of yin energy. Can you see that? 3 versus 3. That's kind of balanced picture. Yeah, so Inwood tiger's energy is balanced. Here to here, maybe. About here. Yang has been grown a little bit more, and then now it is almost similar to the yin energy. Because the Inwood tiger's energy is like February in the northern hemisphere. February is still cold, but all the sprouts start coming out. You can imagine the action that sprouts are coming out is not really aggressive. It is like very slow and very careful. It doesn't really explosively arise. It's really slow and steady, and then it looks like really a weak creature, but the force is strong. So what I want to say is the Inwood tiger's yang energy is not really exploded yet. It is still coming out. It's a baby yang. It is still come from really deep winter time, and then now it is just making a balance with the yin energy. But many people think, okay, now the new spring is started, so I will explode all of my yang. So many people think they already have this amount of yang. It is their hope, not the reality. Like they still have this amount. So they have to be carefully go step by step, and then not really aggressively move to other place or quit this job and then move to another job, or just start a new business. I don't care anything, or I will just invade other country, like that kind of mind. But it should be more balanced. But depending on people's personality, depending on your chart, little initiating movement can happen like this, and then suddenly they don't look at anything on the side and then just look at the front and then just go for that. The failure happens from that. We have to go carefully. And then that is the meaning of the water, like that. Like we are now in the wood time period, but there is still water that has come from last 3 years. The yearly pillars energy is saying that you are still a baby. You are not. We talked about last week that I would want to go out, but mother doesn't want to go out, like that. But like water is still holding up the wood's energy, and talk about just be careful. Just be careful and then be really calculative. Now you are kind of equal to the yin energy. Now it's not the time yet to really push your force.